What's up, everybody? I've been sick for the past couple days. I haven't made any videos, but I've also been pretty busy. So I've been off work due to being sick for this weekend. It's just taken a bit of a drive. Haven't been outside in a couple days. Decided why not make a little video. But I was just reading some things. Sorry about that. Had to make a quick turn there and couldn't really record. Anyway, was reading some stuff, and it was a big thread on Reddit about Hyundai and Kia, and I tried to make this video a couple months ago, and I never ended up bothering with it. But I'm gonna make it now. Basically, I see a lot of people trashing on Hyundai and Kia, and let's be honest, they are not the most reliable vehicles in the world. I definitely don't think anyone can say that. I've heard some people say, "Oh, they're more reliable than Toyota or Honda," and I'm like, that's crap. It's not true. I don't think anyone who knows what they're talking about will actually say that. But yeah, I think they're semi-reliable, and I've owned one Hyundai, and it was a bit older. It was low kilometers, but it was older, but it ran just fine. It had no problems. And the previous owners, they were a bit older people. It seems like they took really good care of their cars. They basically put no work in that thing. Like, they basically do no repairs on it. Which, it's like, you'd think a vehicle that was, 18, 20 years old, you'd have to fix some stuff on it. And they basically, same alternator, same water pump, fuel pump, all that stuff. The only thing they really replaced was the typical consumables like your belts and etc., which is normal. And the wife has a Kia. It's a bit newer. We have 316,000 on it, which is just shy of 200,000 miles. So it runs pretty good. It's got some suspension issues, especially since the roads up here are not super nice, especially in the winter when everything is covered in ice. The roads are really rough, so I can see why the suspension's been beat to shit. But it's got the original engine and transmission. Transmission shifts pretty well. We don't really have any problems with it, and the motor doesn't leak, and it doesn't really burn any oil. Like, I did have to replace the valve cover gasket last year. It had a very minor leak. I just replaced it because why not? It was $50. Not a big deal. But I think that Kia and Hyundai's reputation is somewhat undeserving. And I think it is because people just don't do the maintenance on those cars. And I'm going to explain why. I think it's because most of the people who buy Kias and Hyundais aren't aware of their old reputation. And their old reputation from when they first came to the US and Canada back in the 80s and 90s was that these cars were absolute pieces of junk. So a lot of people who know anything about cars are like, yeah, why would I buy a Kia and Hyundai? They're junk. And a lot of these people will go out and buy something more reliable like a Toyota or a Honda or whatever, but then they'll actually do the maintenance. And I think a lot of the people who buy Kias and Hyundais now are not aware of the reputation, and they're also ill-informed about maintenance. And I don't know, like, I see when I went into the Kia dealership the other day to find some parts, I saw a piece of signage, and it said that Hyundai Canada deemed that this area that we live in is a extreme climate zone, like harsh weather zone. and that they recommended that everyone got their vehicle serviced every 6,000 kilometers, which is pretty. I mean, I normally give all my vehicles oil changes at 5,000 kilometers. So most places recommend 10,000. But Kia and Hyundai are recommending that you bring your car in for service every 6,000. So it sounds like they're saying, hey, like, bring your car in for maintenance, get it maintenance quickly, and, let's take good care of it. And I asked the service writer about that. I said, like, does anyone actually ever really follow that? And she's like, no. Almost no one ever brings their car in when they're supposed to. They never bring it in until it starts to give them issues. Just people will go and they'll get the car, they'll drive it for 15,000 kilometers, and then they'll start to get warning lights and check engine lights, or the car will start to drive weird, and then they bring it in and they're like, oh, what's wrong with my car? And they're like, oh, it's broken because you didn't bring it in. Well, they're like, well, how am I supposed to know when to bring it in? And it's like, well, we put oil change stickers on your inside of your car, and we do all these things to help you, remind you when you're supposed to bring it in, and a lot of people just don't. And so they basically drive the car and beat the crap out of it, and then they're like, oh, Kias are garbage, Hyundais are garbage, because I drove the absolute piss out of them, and then they broke down, unsurprisingly, and then now I'm gonna say that they're garbage. And I don't know, I think that's kind of stupid. I think that, they seem to be decently built vehicles. Like, they're pretty simple. Like, every time I've worked on one, I've never really been like, holy crap, this is a retarded design, for fastening this together or doing that together. I've always been like, okay, this is pretty simple and straightforward. And they just seem to be basic, like, simple cars. So I really think that their reputation's a bit undeserved. I think maintenance matters a ton. I think you can kill any Toyota or Honda if you don't do any maintenance. And I think you can get any Hyundai or Kia to last if you do the maintenance. Right? So that's just kind of my thoughts about it. And I'm looking forward to trying to drive the wife's Kia that she has. It's got a Theta 2. It's the non-GDI. So non-gasoline direct injection motor. I'm looking forward to seeing how many kilometers we can get in that thing before it finally croaks. I think it would be really awesome if we could get it, something like it just keeps running until maybe, we have to get rid of it or something like that. I don't know. It'd just be fun to see how high it goes.